it's a horror story, you know. Seeing the people die in your face like that. You seen the way he stabbed that man was like, some Jason shit. Really, I'm looking at some actually Freddy Krueger. Then you got another guy who kills his cellie, in his sleep, in his bed, because they were arguing. It's just so much, man. Then you seen staff members take a guy down, beat him, and yeah, the Serenos. I'm gonna say the Serenos because they all are conditioned and mentally trained to go. Even those that are not built to go, they're gonna go to the death with the knives, 0 inch, zero nothing. We win, lose, or draw. We're gonna take off, and that's one of those the Sereno games that actually does that for me. You know.
Today we got a special guest, man. One of the big homies from Rochester, a dude that I know personally, a dude that I helped with his legal work. We got him out of prison. His brother did like 25, 26 years in federal prison. Just got out, man. Out in the world, man. World's very different. As you listen to this interview, I always tell people, man, when I bring people on that I'm close with, if you feel like donating to the show, man, don't donate to me today. Donate to this brother. We sent this brother a little bit of money so we can get some food, man. This dude was a leader in prison, very well respected. Dudes that been to the feds know this brother. But look, it's a struggle when you get out and you're in your late 50s and you've been in there for a long time. But Gilly, we're going to get into your story. I will put your Zelle information up. I'm going to make another donation to you today. We're going to make this thing happen. But anyway, Gil, tell the people who you are, where you're from, and how you ended up in federal prison, brother.
Well, I'm James Gilly, also known as Gil or Florida Boy Gil. In the 19, I was born in Wayne County, but I actually migrated back and forth to Florida as a youth.
Gil, do me a favor, Gil. Don't rock back and forth.
Okay, I actually migrated back and forth until I was about 13. And at that time, I mean, my brothers and cousins, we all wound up moving to Rochester, New York. So we actually did grow up there in New York State and go to school up there. And we formed our little organization and, we began to hustle in the 1988, 89 era until the 96. And as you know, the 1986 crime bill didn't take effect fully until most bills don't pass and go to 10 years. And that's when it took effect in 96 on us. And I caught 110 months. And in 2004, I was given a CCE, which is continued criminal enterprise. And I wound up getting 420 months. So I've actually served 29 years in total, recently released. May 18th. So I've actually been out about 2 months and some change. And, we were doing what young men were doing in the 1990s because we thought that was the way to become successful, hustling, selling crack cocaine. There was no fentanyl era, we didn't kill people. You just got caught up with the sentencing guidelines, which, depending on the prosecutor's discretion, will determine how much time you will get, especially if you have prior felons on your record. So, me, my cousins and brothers, we actually, went back to Florida, got other cousins, and it came out of control for, that area. And we wound up getting a lot of time behind it, so everybody's actually done a lot of time behind it, but we actually want to tell our story. And we also want to help the others that are left behind because there are so many people who are incarcerated for not just the drug offenses, but the statutes that allow these drug offenses to be. So some of you who are familiar might understand and might know what I'm talking about. Of course, Chad, I know you do, because you're one of the people that we salute. The whole entire federal system knows you, and they're happy and proud for you. You know what I'm saying? Because you've actually helped people get out, especially myself too. So it's still a struggle for a lot of people who are binded into these institutions that are really, really bad. I just left Yazoo, Mississippi, in which I served 11 years. I mean, depending on your mind state, and your perspective and how you see things, yes, it is an institution that is fully of misconduct, staff misconduct, but it's also an institution that will not do anything for you based on that. It's hard to get out of those prisons. They don't want to ship you. Your medical is unbelievable. I'm quite sure some of you have seen some of the articles. If you look it up, you'll see that they have some of the biggest complaints with the black mold spores in that institution. So it's like really overwhelming. The treatment is like, I've never seen anything like it ever in all of those 29 years. That was my worst from 2020 through COVID until May 18th, 2025. That was the worst I have ever seen in the Federal Bureau of Prisons.
Let me ask you a couple questions, Gil, right? You end up, you got out of prison, you end up catching that big bid really for some petty ass shit. Everybody from the town knows that.
Yes.
What's the first federal prison that you go to on your first bid? Now let me rephrase that. What was the most dangerous federal prison that you were in?
I was in USP Canaan, and USP Canaan at the time was a new institution, and they sent a lot of low custody classification people. But at that time, you understand that the BOP changed the custody classifications and allowed higher up maximum security people to come there. And I give you my word, with a fresh 420 months, everybody in that institution had 180 years, double life, triple life, and the bodies was dropping like we were in Beirut, back to back. Even the police died right in my unit. The man stabbed that man to death in the unit because he didn't want to go face the death penalty for something else. So he figured if he kills another person, he chose a staff, that he could fight for another 20 years going to court. That was his reason for killing this good staff member. Not that any cop is good, but he wasn't one that was treating us, bad. He was fair with us in that institution there. So, but that was a traumatizing situation. A lot of guys come home and don't accept the fact that, yes, you have been incarcerated. You followed the doorbell, the bing tings, and work call. So you have a degree of institutionalization and probably some PST. So you have to recognize that when you get out and be conscious of it and listen when people tell you, hey, you're doing this or you're doing that. Don't just get upset and start arguing, because I'm dealing with it. I just happen to have an open mind, and I also listen. So I work on that every day. We're trying to socialize and reintegrate. Do you know how hard it is to integrate back into society when everything is AI? It's unbelievable. It's overwhelming to a person mentally, for real, to come from a flip phone era until these here smartphones. This is like, it's baffling to me what it can do.
I want to tell you, we're going to talk about what it's like when you get out, but I want to take you back to prison right now, right? Federal prison, Canaan, one of the most dangerous prisons. Throughout the years, I had heard, they're like, hey, man, the homie Gilly put in some work over there. Gilly was, he was about that business, had that, had that thing on you, whatever. What was one of the craziest things that you experienced in Canaan that you've seen besides the cop? I mean, did you see the cop get killed in your unit?
It was in my unit, A1 unit. That unit is now designated as a transit unit for people transporting back and forth. Actually, you'll go from Youngstown, Ohio, to that jail, and you'll get designated either to that institution or to another institution. But I guess it was just so much. I can't even accumulate it all, because it's like, it's a horror story, seeing the people die in your face like that. You seen the way he stabbed that man was like, some Jason shit. Really, I'm looking at some actually Freddy Krueger. Then you got another guy who kills his cellie, in his sleep, in his bed, because they were arguing. It's just so much, man. Then you've seen staff members take a guy down, beat him, and next thing you know, you're telling us that he hung himself or he suffocated on his own. You know what I mean? And we already knowing that these things didn't happen, because we know the person, we know the character, and we know those who have a mind state that is unstable. It's like me and one of you. I'm telling you now, James Gilly ain't doing nothing to him. I wouldn't give a dang if I had 1,000,000 years. I'm trying to stay alive. You see what I'm saying? So if something happened to me in that sense, that's a lie. And that's some of the things that we deal with every day. Uncertainty is what it is. You never know whether you're going to go out to the rec yard because of individual staff feelings of that day, because there is no oversight anymore. They don't even listen to to what the Sentencing Commission is saying. They don't listen to the First Step Act. They don't give you that, and it's a federal law. They don't even want to let us out for that.
We're going to talk. We'll talk about that in a minute. I want to talk more about what goes on in federal prison in places like USP Canaan, right? I mean, you've seen people stabbed, you've seen people killed. What did it do to you mentally, emotionally, when that happens to someone?
Well, for me, and it makes you a hardened criminal. It makes you defensive. It makes you ready to go on call, boots on the ground when the gate crack. They don't turn that key and you not have boots on and be standing at the door, wide-eyed, bright and bushy, like, you know what I mean? Like you in the war zone, psychologically, all day, every day, because it can go down. You got all the different sects that are non-compatible, but they you know what I mean, they I guess you could say they they tolerate each other for a time being until one does something or one sees one that they don't like this or don't like that about another one. So now we'll be subjected to whatever these gangs or sets decide they want to do. If they want to go to war, then you got friends that might be involved. It's just so much going on because there's different segments of different people. You might have the New York car, you might have a Chicago, you might have the Florida. You got all these different segments. Then you got the Haitians, then you got the Sereno, then you got the Sapices, then you got the cartel guys. It's just too many MS-13s, Serenos, and it's all day, every day on point.
Worst, most dangerous group of dudes in federal prison as far as gangs, cars. Who was the most dangerous to you?
Well, I've seen, not that they were dangerous because they were willing to do it. Whether they win or lose or not, you have to be very particular and be careful how you deal with them because they are very, they're prejudiced against most Americans, and that was, to me, I would say the Serenos. And yeah, the Serenos. I'm gonna say the Serenos because they all are conditioned and mentally trained to go. Even those that are not built to go, they're gonna go to the death with the knives, 0 inch, zero nothing. We win, lose, or draw, we're gonna take off. And that's one of those the Sereno games that actually does that for me. We are always New York. I'm gonna give it to like this. We were always good because we were always had every one of us. It didn't matter if he was a blood or a crip, and I was in an institution, and I bring every one of us together. All the big homies, I've been with everybody. If you say I'm in the damn Don Diva in the feds, I bid it with them. We ate together, which means we were together because we don't break bread, which we call the Last Supper with men that we don't have real, true, authentic love for. You see what I'm saying? I don't eat with you if I don't really mess with you because that is a bond for us. Just like if I eat with my family at a dinner table, if I eat with you, you eat at my table, you're on deck, you're on call. And I'm quite sure you know that, Brother Tad. You had to deal with some things too and put people in line and put people in check because you were not based on this car and that car because we were your homeboys and we were going to go with you. And a lot of the guys from your race denomination felt that, you were being something else, but you had to put in work to show them, yeah, I'm who I say I am. So, yeah, you put in work too, standing on business. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I know about all of that. So that's some of the things that we deal with daily, every day. So if you believe that those institutions mentally don't affect us and give us a lot of principle, don't get me wrong though, because we come home with a different mindset. Those that are, focused. We like our environment, our toilets clean. We might even urinate taking a knee as opposed to standing up and letting it splash. As men, we're programmed and conditioned to urinate standing up because that's what a man do. But you got the science. You know that if you urinate standing up, you got your shorts, so you're going to feel the splash on your legs. But if you kneel, there's nothing feminine about that. You're just urinating to make sure that your celly doesn't smell your urine on the floor and it doesn't stink in your cell. You see what I'm saying? So we do things of that nature. We always consider it. I'll never leave hair in the sink. And right now to this day, if I shave, cut my hair, anything, I am going to fine tooth comb and make sure that there's no hair because you know how you feel when you see hair. So we're always conscious of these type of things because these things can lead to an assault or a war. It's so petty shit that really just take you to another level, man, in those institutions, especially high security institutions where everyone is tense. You're talking about guys who got life who are never coming home. You can play with this guy if you want to. He is going to kill you. Period.
Let's talk a little. Let's talk a little bit about cars, right? Some people don't understand what a car is. Some people think, oh, that's a gang. Tell the people what a car is, man. Is it a gang or is it just a group of homeboys or what is a car?
The homeboys that care about their people from their area and their town because that's your car is because these people can communicate with you with familiar people, places, and things. So you're in this car, but that doesn't mean we're now socialized with guys from other cities, countries, and states. I got great friends from all over the world now, and as you know, they were brilliant people in these institutions. They were the best of the best in whatever field they were. But a car is actually, just a group of homies being together. You have gangs, but a car is just your homeboy. You got the Syracuse car, you had the Buffalo car, you had the Rochester car, you got the New York, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, all the boroughs. But when it's time, the car is the New York car as a whole, the state itself. Same thing with Florida. Same thing with Chicago. These places, that's the car. Oh, I'm in a New York car. So there's a New York table. When your people come in off the bus, hey, where you from? New York. Man, we go over to the New York table and, your homies will have your care package, toothpaste, toe, get you out of the bus material, put you in some shoes or something and sweatsuits until you get a chance to go to the commissary and get your own stuff. You know what I mean? Now, mind you, when that bag comes to you, you're going to be asked, hey, man, if you ain't straight, meaning are you a rat, confidential informant, a snitch, the terminology that we use, don't take this bag. In fact, turn and go that way, especially in the high institutions. Now that has changed because uh, they're actually giving the people a lot of time for it, and it's being accepted too broadly. So you personally are fighting by yourself. I was stuck on that because I had the mind state that, sexual offenders and snitches, shouldn't have a fair shake in jail, or, they just should be tormented. They didn't deserve to be in my circumference, and I had to deprogram from that because, like I said, you were fighting a stone. I caused myself a lot of uh chances because I was too hostile and I hadn't deprogrammed from that high institutional mind state. I was in a low, and I'm running around in a dang on low, still like I'm in a high supermax with a piece of bone crusher. And there's a difference because you got razors, you got little ice picks, then you have little melted plastic that'll turn into fiberglasses that'll float through the metal detectors. You got all those kind of things. But I wasn't playing like that. I had a bone crusher, pinky thick. You know what I'm saying? Me, 10, 12 inches long, daily with a string on it.
Let me ask you this, right? Because I know some of the homies told me, man, that you had ran a tight ship, right? I mean, it's not, some people say, I ain't got no shot caller. We always have a leader, someone that people look up to, someone that can make conscious decisions. But they did say that you were kind of violent and kind of rough and serious on some of the homies, man. Tell us about that. What's it like being a shot caller?
Well, it's these guys will tell you that they didn't have that, they don't have that because no man wants to be, appear to be weak or submissive to another until that drama come and I got to go down here and talk to a Sereno leader because they got them. Every gang has a shot caller or a big homie. So you call me big homie. Okay, cool. I accept that because I know it's a respect. If you call me OG, that's all the respect. But it's still that shot caller for that car to keep from us having to go to war with another car. So yes, that did happen. And yes, like I said, I was strict and I was I was hostile because I was dealing with my own issues too of the time. And you might not even realize it. As a person, of intellect now, I understand, you were hostile because you thinking that, you're just, everything is okay. But all the time, you're still looking at 420 months at the age of, 45 and 50 years old. So you can go to sleep every night thinking I can die in jail. So you tell me how you would feel with post-traumatic stress wise, feeling like I might die here. You see what I'm saying? So in the big homie concept, like I say though, we do those things and you'll know who is who because they can tell you, oh, wasn't no big homie, no big homie. Oh yeah, it's a big homie because when the SIS lieutenant, which is the security of the institution, and the warden call you down and another guy from each car in order to open that compound back up, you know who the big homies is then. You see what I'm saying? Because they ain't calling the regulars or to anybody. They calling somebody who have uh, a voice that they're gonna listen to that we can, you know what I mean? And all that. So yeah, that's what a big homie is or a shot caller. And they got them, bro. Every car got those, man. Whether you like to accept it or not and say he was your shot caller, if that person was the person that other cars leaders would come to and speak to about a debt that one of your homeboys owes, uh, a drug addiction and sleeping and falling out on the floor on the spice and all this and fentanyl and all that kind of stuff. If one of those other guys from another unit or a car came and spoke to you about it, they did it because you were the voice or the big homie or you were close to him. Shot caller shit. That's it.
I think you were in Canaan with the homie Chiz, right? The mixed kid Chiz. I think was Squirt over there with you?
Yeah, I was with a lot of the Wolfpack gang boys, man, from over there on Parcells, you know. All them kids was over there with me. We was kind of deep over there. It was. Yeah, we was over there with Squirt. Squirt was definitely over there. He had a lot of time with Junie. You know what I mean? The other little Spanish June was over there. Rock from the west side. Then we had the other Rock, Shamel. It was quite a few over there, man.
What was it like, man, when there was an issue with a Rochester dude, man? Everybody came together like a gang?
Every time. Every time. And being a big homie, the whole 5 boroughs came from me. Period. And I ain't just regular because I've been in with all the Don Diva and Felon people Lou Hobbs, he was there with me. Akbar Prey, he was there with me. I ate with them.
I'd like to get Homicide Lou on. Like I was a big Sandy with Lou, got along real well with him. Someone had reached out to me and about 30 days ago said he wants to get with me and come on the podcast. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to bring Lou on, right? What was Lou like? Tell the people what Lou was like, because I was with him. Tell them what he was like.
You know, the person that you was told about, you would never see. The man would come out. He had a table alone that we always go over there and give him salute and big props. And he would sit there all day and just think and gaze. And the dang pigeons would come to him like he was on the roof of New York City and eat out of his hand, just sitting there like that. That's what he was like. Absolutely.
Very serious dude if he had to be, right?
Yeah. These guys are extremely educated, Chad. You know that. These men have sat in these institutions and read some of the most powerful intellectual and scientific books that we know of from the ancient days. You know, the Dale Carnegies, you know, the Matthew Lescos, you know, you're talking about Adam Grant's, the originals, you know, you name it, the Greens. They've read these books several times and they actually understand them now because after repetitive reading, your mind begins to try to analyze what it is that you're reading because they're complicated. Just like when you read Bible verses, they're in parables, and it takes a open eye and an ear to hear what is being said to you. So these are these type of books, but we know that. We know it now. You know what I mean? And that's the absolute fact. So it's a hell of a thing, bro. It's a blessing and it's a curse to be able to do that. I mean, you're a blessing right now, Chad. You know the fight that you do with freedom fighters, all the people that you have let out these institutions, fighting for us, still fighting for me 20 years later. You know what I mean? And you took you to go in there and fight for your own life to learn this language, learn how to read these United States codes. And right now to this day, look at the work. They know you're doing it, so they block you in every institution.
Man, listen, I know, I was fighting your case for years, and I kept telling you, be patient. It's going to happen. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. And then eventually you did get out.
And it did. I got a copy of it right now, the same clemency that we did, and I want to fight for every little new law that came, the board, and I want to go for the Williams and Whitley, the Johnson and the Johnson 1 and 2. Chad is saying, listen, man, this clemency gonna work, and the language you put in there, and that's another example of what I said about those books. You put that in there about what was that book we do quoted that were talking about the clemency, man?
Was it Just Mercy by Brian Stevens?
No, it wasn't just mercy. It was a forefathers.
Oh, I wrote it. Oh, yeah, I wrote about that, about how clemency, was supposed to be used, all of that stuff.
Exactly. But that came from one of those books that we normally don't read. You see, I'm talking about constitutional rights, talking about the declaration in that book. But yes, that's my point. But yeah, and it was beautifully, immaculately put together. When I read it myself, and that, like I said, having a a little profound knowledge on the history of our country, things like that, I was like, boy, this is brilliant, and it worked, like you said it would.
Let me ask you this, right? While you were in prison, did you ever have to personally put in work?
Hell yeah, man, I put in too much work.
Let's talk a little bit about that, right? What are some of the things that Gilly had to do, and why did you have to do them?
Well, a lot of times I did it out of respect, for full respect, guys doing this and that. And like you say, I mean, I literally was trying to keep heat off of my unit. So if there are a bunch of young kids in there doing all kind of stupid shit and always coming to me for input when you need me, but when I'm seeing you doing something not good, and that was my issue. So I would get into it for that. We would get into it if one of the a guy stole something from somebody, or did something that we just don't tolerate. Even a rat that wouldn't leave. All right, don't trip to the back or to the bathroom. Any open area where the police ain't at, and I'm handling that business. I grew up in the country of sodas, wild country shit, and then came to Rochester, Baden Street. So I had the best of both worlds, bro. You mix the two. Just like a street dude becoming a corporate executive. It's a wrap. You running circles around him. And so that's what it was for me. So
Let's talk a little bit about the street life. I used to box over at Avenue D, St. Martin's with Don. I fought at Baden Street a bunch of times. What was it? You had what was it? The Scrap Village was over there, Fight Village, right?
right.
Ronald Jockey and all them. What was it like, man, growing up over there? Being over there in the village over there, Fight Village.
You know, in that my era, the Draco shooting pills and drills wasn't there like that. So you could get a fair fight, brass knuckles and all that came out. But we had fun as kids, man, because we had skate town. We were skating, you know what I mean? We would get into fights, live to talk about it, you know what I mean? But it made us tougher men. But we also had integrity. We from that era, and I know man, we wasn't ratting like that. Yeah, you got rats here and there, but man, it wasn't like it is today. Men would stand on the standards on Tuesday, but you were conditioned and programmed to do that. And you really did. Even if I fought a dude and I didn't like him, I would never, do that. And there was a lot of our generation that didn't do that in that era. So it was fun, but it was a lot of fighting going on, chasing the girls, the Pumas, Adidas, fat laces, and all that kind of stuff. This is what it was back in the town. We had weapons, but we weren't shooting, killing each other like that. Only way you get that put that work in is if you don't throw that man money or his pack or disrespected his family. So it was a good time back in the early 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91 through 96. We had a fun run.
And now it's like the Wild West here.
Yes. Don't
So
say nothing to that young boy. Get away from that's yours. Yeah, put your head down, act like you scared, knowing you or do something vicious to him. Because if you don't, you're a dead man. So any inclination that it's a split second, you play with it. Because if you don't, you won't be here, and he will. That's a fact.
You've been to some other penitentiaries too, right? Not just Kane. I think were you in the pen in Yazoo or the FCI?
Yeah, I went to Yazoo too. I went to all four spots at Yazoo. I did my last 11 years in Yazoo. I was at the low. COVID-19 trying to bring the population down. They took several of I had calmed down here now. I was the head orderly in a great position. And you took all of these guys who had stayed out of trouble for a while, who actually had gotten their points down to a particular level, and sent them to a USP because you didn't think that none of them would rebel. Well, we did rebel. And I think I don't know if I showed it to you or sent it to you, but I actually wrote a class action that went around that institution, but we stayed there locked in the cell for dang near a year during COVID, man. In a USP, low classified inmates inside of a United States prison. And no matter what you do, once you go inside of these institutions, this prison system, you have these security levels. And those security levels is going from a camp, a low, a medium, and a high, which is your USPs, your mediums, things of that nature. And you work your way down. I worked my way down from a killing field and I went from USP Canaan to Raybrook, New York. Was there like 7, 8 years. Then I went to Berlin, New Hampshire to open it up. From Berlin, New Hampshire, that's when they shipped me to uh, Yazoo. Now, when I got to Yazoo, I'm talking about, Fort Dixon, they'll tell you how sweet it is and this and that, man. I mean, I've never seen this much percentage. It was, you couldn't see a white staff member on that institution at the time when I got there. It was very rare, and it was so much misconduct you wouldn't believe. They were bringing everything known to man. It was, man, it might have been 10, 15 staff members a year getting pregnant, not getting fired because they weren't getting caught. And I'm gonna say 40% was actually into bringing, contraband and things of that nature. So it was off the chain, and it really did that time like you never believe. I've never seen nothing like it. Still to this day, it's just overwhelming, man. I'm sitting in this institution, bro, and I'm looking at pounds of weed on the table, man. Hundreds and hundreds of cartons of cigarettes, 500, 600 phones. Every single day they coming in like that. It's just ridiculous. So you just doing your time. And I'm talking the spice, everything you think you could want, man. Suboxone, every name you name the drug, it was in that institution like no other I've ever seen before. So that bid was easy because you not being policed. You're just thrown in a projects because that's what it is, a pure 100% project, and you're doing whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? And they're not bothering you, but they're not giving you any assistance. They're not helping you rehabilitate. They're not giving you any of the programs and the grants that you're supposed to get. So you're not doing anything but becoming a sedated if you were on drugs. It was up to you to decide to go right, which is the rec yard, or left, which is the library or education. I went to education every day, all of those years, along with all the other educated OGs and people who actually like to study and read and learn. So
let's talk about this, right? So Yazoo was a lawless land. I mean, everything's coming in, and usually when you're in a prison where it's lawless, there's a lot of violence. What was the violence like at Yazoo in them beginning days?
well, it happened, but it was a rare instance because these guys, I mean, they were getting so much money, bro. It was just money, man. We're talking about dudes making $1 million a year, man, on just cigarettes alone. Food, everything sold. I don't give a dang if you made taffy with the flavored Kool-Aids. They'll make all kind of candies and stuff and go sell out in the yard every single day. You can go in there, take the salt and make icicles with it, freeze them and bring them out in your ice cooler and sell out every day. Cheesecakes, everything. It was just ridiculous. And there's literally, I'm telling you, the whole time I was there is a 60, $70,000 poker table going on right then and there on the spot every single day. And the money denomination was the stamps. You send me 10 books or 100 books. If you send me 100 books, I'll send you $500. And your job is to go out there and accumulate as many stamps as you can, put the rubber band on them, and hey, you need books. You need books. Send a guy to the store for the books. You buy your drugs with the book. It's the exchange.
That was the currency, those stamps. Some of them stamps are old as hell. Some of the stamps you can't even put on an envelope, but they're currency.
That currency, and like I opened a ticket up one time. One of our homies that are there now, he has had a ticket in Yazoo, Mississippi for the entire 10 years. He's the biggest ticket on the pound. He never failed, and that's Javara's brother, S. Dot. We call him Sterl.
Sterl's my right-hand man. I just talked to Sterl about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, he got the strongest ticket, and he never failed. Right now to this day, he got that ticket. And like I say, I was telling him when he was making an argument about the stamps, people taking these stamps off the envelope. I said, "Stop. What difference does it make? Because you're doing nothing but adding currency to the economy, because this economy is right here and it's local. So if they take the stamps off and you put them on the thing, we ain't doing nothing but exchanging for cash and Cashapp and Zells and shit anyway. So what difference does it make? Let them take the stamps and we take them in the bet. When they hit, we pay the stamps out. They go buy them. They're going to buy their cookies, their candy, the food out the mess hall. Once you give me a Cashapp for this 10 books, 20 books, 100 books, I don't care what it is. And you shouldn't either, because it goes both ways.
Yeah, I mean, hey, some people are like, oh, man, they ain't going to put the stamps on an envelope anyway, so it is what it is, right?
Right. None of these stamps can even go in it. The ones that you accept can't even go in the stamp. So what difference does it make if it just adds money to your economy?
I want people to understand this, Gilly, that there is a currency in federal prison. And what they are is postage stamps. Sometimes they got lines on them. Sometimes they've been used. But, the majority of them, if you get 10 books of stamps, they're all, separate single stamps are in this big thing. Or you can get flat books. But that's what they use to buy everything, like you said. Drugs, peppers, onions out of the kitchen, stolen meat, whatever they got, that's it.
That's what you're taking. And it has a price value. 6 stamps is this, because they were doing dollar stamps. 2 stamps over there, is $1. Because they were going for 50 cents per stamp. So yes, you use a value. If you go to the store right now in the commissary and buy a brand new United States postal stamp, it's $14 for a flat book. Now, if you sell that book and keep it whole, you can get $10 for it. But if you do not, if you rip it, you're going to get what they call 20 stamps, which is 2 sides. One stamp is 2 sides once you rip it. You're going to get $10. So you're going to lose $4.70 dang near every time you rip that flat book. But that's how we purchase things. 3 stamps can get you, a candy, or 3 peppers out, onions out. A book will get you a piece of chicken. Chicken's $3, $4 now.
Let me ask you this. That's crazy, right? When you were in Raybrook, were you in Raybrook when Sterl was there? Because I know Sterl got stabbed pretty bad in Raybrook.
No, he didn't get stabbed. He did the stabbing.
I thought he had got stabbed in Raybrook.
No, he did the stabbing.
What was Raybrook like for you?
I mean, it was me and Sterl were together. You know what I'm saying? We ran that compound. It was other big homies there now, really, really respected gentlemen but we were brought to the round table as a conglomerate, because you had our Syracuse car, Buffalo car, and the Rochester car. Rochester was the strongest, and I had a kid from Syracuse named T. Miles. Yeah. So they were always offset, but an incident happened with one of them in the Connecticut guys. And the Boston and New England car is the whole entire car roll. Whites, blacks, everybody. If you're from Boston, if you're from New England, they're gonna roll together without question. That's white boys and all, and they gangsters. Don't get it twisted. So, and the white boys popping off just like the blacks. So yeah, they had an incident where they rolled down on them, and I went to Terrell Hines.
I know TH is out. You know that TH got out?
Yeah, I talked to him. He was fought law out too. So when when that happened, he was their OG in that car, because he was the oldest one. They respected. So I went and told him, I say, they didn't want to be in the car because they didn't want us, actually checking paperwork like that in their car. And I said, listen, this is what we're gonna do, man. Y'all gonna check y'all paperwork. And if y'all have a problem, then we'll bring the rest of the car in, but y'all can handle it first. But if a guy come on that place that ain't right, you don't get rid of them. We're going to do it because you are mandated in the car. And that's the kind of call I call, because I said, ain't nobody finna put no hands on nobody from New York again, especially upstate. So that was weight on me. I took that on. You know what I'm saying? Buffalo the same. Don't get me wrong. Buffalo, they get it in. They rock. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to man our young people. You have to have some discipline. You have to also have, where they're not running around making issues to create a conflict between different cars. Older guys don't want to get into that. They want to, try to help these young people see different. We even was going so far as to, hey, Get that GED, man. I'm gonna buy you a pair of the new shoes they got in commissary. You know, just trying to encourage them that somebody cared, that somebody wanted you to do it, and give them something, an incentive to go actually get the GED, not for us, but for himself. It was stuff like that going on in Raybrook. It was love over there, bro. New York was strong. We down there 800 deep. We took pictures with 800 people. Ja Rule pulled up on the compound. He worked out with rocks, the whole entire rock car. He was cordial with everybody, but his workout car, he was with our rock, the homie Rock. You know what I'm saying? Lil Swift that just, passed, God bless the dead. He passed up from over there and that chain gang thing, he was from over there. The Wolf Pack. So yeah.
I was in Raybrook for like 5 years. I came there probably not too long after you had left. Green Eyes was over there. I think he had left and then came back.
Right. He did. He came back because they kicked me and I got kicked out because of Green Eyes. They said we had too much power with the New York car, so they kicked us both out, sent us to Berlin, New Hampshire.
A raggedy ass place. Berlin was raggedy.
Oh, it was a brand new place though.
I'm talking about just the staff and everything that was going on. I mean, I got people there now who are like, yo, this shit's horrible.
It's horrible now, but when we got there, they had no idea what was going on. So I literally ordered every single thing in commissary and everything in the wreck. They was giving away exclusive stuff. They had no idea what was going on. And they finally them figured it out. But for commissary wise, it is the best in the BOP. You can't get what they have over there. They got everything, I know out here that stuff ain't nothing, but in there it's big. Spaghettis, olive oils, garlics, every potato chip, every single soda, non-diet, regular sodas. You don't get that in the BOP. You got every single candy bar, every single cake and cookie and pie. That's it, us inside this exclusive. So yeah.
Worst place you ever been, Gilly?
USP Canaan, man. When you come to violence, but worst place conditions-wise, even though it was overwhelming to do what you want with money making, if you wanted to do it, was Yazoo, Mississippi. It was the most traumatic of my bid in the end, for real, where I was just released from.
Was there ever a place or a time while you were in federal prison where you thought, man, we might be in a little bit of danger here? Something's about to pop off and we're in danger.
Well, I'm going to say in 1998, well, I'm going to say 9/11. 9/11, bro. We don't know what's going to happen in our country, in that world. And we already hearing about, what they do to people in prison, martial law in prison, which is supposedly they might eliminate us when you have war on our own soil, things of that nature. And we had a 9/11. It was just so much unrest, and we had Bush in office, so we don't know what the heck was going to happen. You know what I mean?
So you thought, man, they could come in here and kill all of us, lock us in a cell and shoot us in the head.
That's what you're thinking. Only that, and you and I understand it because we were there. They don't have to do that anymore. They can gas us. We don't even know right now if we've been subjected to some slow working death agent that can, mess your life up, because too many people that's got right out of jail.
So really, man, the whole 9/11 thing, it was dangerous. You guys didn't know what was going to happen, none of that type of stuff. But that was when you were probably most scared in prison. You didn't know if the police were going to come in there and eliminate you guys.
Right, because what made it the most scary is because, we don't care about fighting with other other organizations, other sets, other cars. You can have a chance to defend yourself. But when it came to something like that, you don't have a chance to defend yourself behind those doors. You're locked in the cell. They can either don't come there and let you starve to death. They can gas you, through the doors, or they can just come in there and, shoot us down. I mean, they run in there anytime they want with the dang on pellet guns. And where I was at in the towers, they got the shotguns in the tower, which has the different rounds. You got the rubber round, you got the bird round, the pellet round, but then you got the slug. Because the first round is the warning, the blank, bam, the blank shot. They get out on the ground. Same target. That's what you're going to hear in the speaker. So everybody to get down. Lay down. If you don't lay down, they'll pop one more shot. Don't lay down in the USP, man. They're going to hit you with that. They're going to pop you with that, with those pellet rounds first. and then they're gonna hit you with that slug if you can't be controlled.
Gilly, man, crazy place to be. All out of all the years that you did, man. You went in a young man, you did 20 something years. What was your biggest regret in life, brother?
Wow, man, that's like man, it's just it depends on how you asking that, Ted, because it's like there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give it this.
Well, let me stop you. Let me stop you. Let me stop you for a minute, right? I mean, what I mean by your biggest regret, some of the best years of your life were spent in the penitentiary, man. So what was your biggest regret?
My biggest regret was that I came from a big. My grandparents raised me out in Wayne County, and they were the first beginning wave of Black entrepreneurship in the United States. Properties, real estate, and I was supposed to be the lead after that and take that over. And that's my biggest regret, that I didn't take over and continue to build that enterprise from what they had left, because they were actually like the backbone of that community. When families got in need, they would come there and get what they needed, and they would give it back however it went. And if you didn't have it, they would work with you. But we were literally the backbone of the community. We had a lot of real estate and property out there in Sodus and Wayne County, which we still got two of them. One of the places was sold, and it's now not a Walmart, but a Dollar General. But those things were left to me. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that I was supposed to take and advance now. Because right now, my mind state is the one that is on Route 104, right there on Route 104 and Ridge Road. I want to take and put an electric gas station there because it is on a high trafficking area. And the volume is unbelievable because there's no way to get from, Rochester to Syracuse, Albany without you hitting 104. There's 10 million people going through there every year. Back and forth. So with an electrical charging station right there, that's my biggest regret though, that I didn't take over, that, because the skills that I utilize out there in Rochester in those streets, you're talking about, wow, you're taking these flasks and you're putting chemicals in them, and you're adding water and heat, and you're actually manufacturing. When you turn powder to cocaine, that's a manufacturing process. Actually, when you take it and go to the table and start to chop it up in your pieces and segment it, now you're talking about production. There's no way around that. This is exactly what I'm doing. I got an assembly line production, then I'm marketing, advertising, and promotion, because I'm giving samples and I'm telling people, hey, I got this, I got this. I did every single thing that we do in corporate business in this world right there with that product. So now with that skill underset in a particular terminology in a way that they know how to do it, you need to go now and get a different product. One that is legal, one that you can certify. It's that easy for me. And I guarantee you, because you were right there too, bro. You know for a fact, I don't give a damn what product they gave one of us, coming from the ghetto and having a business terminology clean up, get to, your etiquette together, you know what I'm saying, your hygiene, and you're able to market to the people in the ghetto, in the hood, like you just did with that camera, and I go right over there to the suburb and change my vocabulary, period. So I wouldn't give a damn if you came from Harvard or Yale.
So, I know you've been out a very, very short time, did a bunch of time. Life's not easy for you right now, man. In fact, you're on your way to try to go get some food, whatever. And I tell you, man, you ain't got to do that, man. I got you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to send you a couple dollars. I sent you some money. I'm going to tell people today, man, I'm vouching for you, people that have been on this channel, people that are part of this family. Look, I've done this for the homie Vic and another dude from Texas. I have to do it for you. This dude is a good dude, very well known, very well respected in the penitentiary. If you're going to donate to me today, don't donate to me. There's some people out there that donate. Donate to this brother. I'm going to put his number up there, his Zelle, all of that. Man, help this brother out, man. And I told you, man, I'm working on some big things right now. And if things happen, I'm going to try to get you, man, working. If there's somebody in Atlanta, because you're not in Rochester now you're in Atlanta, someone out there that owns a company. My uncle's all the way up. I'm going to reach out to him too. I just reached out to the homie, Casanova's co-defendant, her father. He's doing some things there in Atlanta. I reached out to him, said, you just got home. We need to try to get you to work, get you a job. You don't mind working 10, 12, 14 hours. You need to put some money in your pocket so you can take care of yourself. We're going to try to do that for you.
Give me a job that I can earn out, because like I said, I didn't just speak those things. I really have actual financial proposals, blueprints, and action plans, but it requires capital to just get started on a small level. I'll do the rest if I get a job from there. I promise you that.
Well, I'm committed to helping you, brother. I'm going to do everything I can. Anything you want to say before we go, Gilly?
Yeah, I just want to, say I thank you for all that you've done personally, bro, for not just me, but the guys that are still there, man, the ones that you're still trying to bring home, bro. Peace to my brother, S. Dot, that's still in there. All of my friends that we left, these guys are family. We've been with these guys for 30 years. This is my family. So I'd love to say, keep your head up, brother. Keep fighting that law. You got people out here like Chad and stuff that's trying to help. And if you can, man, log on to this podcast, bro. Because we fight. And every time you see the feed, man, it's about something going on in the institution trying to help us, not you, all of us. So, yeah,
Well, listen, brother, I definitely appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you coming out and sharing your stories, your experiences. I'm going to tell people, if you like what we're doing, you already know, share the video with respect. Hit this brother Zelle. Until tomorrow, Blood on the Razor Wire TV, we're out.
Yeah, for sure.